Hello and welcome to the David Icke weekly video cast. Well, what a week it's been as the world slips ever deeper into clinical insanity. I'm talking, of course, about political correctness. If there is anywhere genuine discrimination, of course there is, across a great swathe of different areas of human life, and genuine imposition of someone's will on another, then I'm with you. Much of what I do year after year is exposing exactly that. But what I'm seeing, sickeningly, is genuine racism, genuine exploitation, genuine discrimination being exploited to pursue personal agendas of organizations and individuals. And I say personal agendas, but in the end, it's not even that. These are people that rush to judgment minute by minute. Condemn him, condemn him, condemn him. Sometimes her, but usually him. They are being used in their idiocy by that in the shadows, which is using this political correctness to get the target population to silence itself, to transform human society and to destroy human discourse and interaction. And day by day, hour by hour, that is now quite obviously what is unfolding. We have reached the point where a clothing firm, H&M, withdraw children's socks with a Lego logo on or picture on because it is claimed, and the picture is of a Lego man with a drill. It is claimed that if you turn the socks upside down, then it can be misconstrued the way it is drawn to be the Arabic script for Allah. I slowed up there because my comprehension was struggling to speak those words, so ludicrous and insane that they are. But in this world of madness, it is true. We have black parents of a little black boy in Sweden having to flee their home because another H&M piece of clothing, a t-shirt, had words on that the masses of politically correct moronic people construed to be racist. And that's kind of an important point. See, the black parents did not consider it racist, what was on the t-shirt, because they're black. Why would they have their little black child wearing something that was racist? But the reason they had to flee their home, because of the backlash from the morons, is because the people directly affected by this alleged discrimination don't matter. They don't matter. They don't matter because only those on the Twitter storm virtue signaling their insanity, and the organisations that set themselves up to be anti-discrimination and anti-racist, only they matter. And in the wake of yet another storm this week, Formula One motor racing has decided to end the long tradition of having women standing on the grid, holding up the grid number to show the drivers where to put their car on the grid for the start of the race. Because the Twitter stormers and the fascistic, always outraged mob have intimidated Formula One into virtue signalling. Oh yes, it doesn't meet with modern values. Anyone ask the women? Anyone ask the women? I thought this was about empowering women and giving them choice. I'm all for that. But no, it's not. It's imposing on women a lack of choice, because the only choices they are allowed to have are the choices of the fascistic mob. This was some of the reaction from grid girls, as they're called, on social media after this decision was made. Feminism now costing women their jobs. Wake me up when all this crazy political correctness blows over. It's not going to, because it's not meant to. This is about transforming human society in the way that Orwell described a long time ago. It will only stop when we have some backbone and grow a pair and stop apologising and reacting to the mob. Another woman who was working in the Formula One arena. I love my job. I'm respected, paid well, and proud to represent the team I'm working for. It's not right for anyone, let alone feminists, up their own arsists, to judge our job when, quite frankly, they are putting so many women out of work. Where is the equality and empowerment here? But it's not about what's right in terms of giving women choice and power. It's about taking it away. That's what these people who obviously don't have mirrors in their own house to look themselves in the eye and be honest with themselves, that's what they don't get. They think they're social justice warriors when they're destroying it. Because of these feminists, says another, they've cost us our jobs. I've been a grid girl for 8 years and I've never felt uncomfortable. I love my job. If I didn't, I wouldn't do it. That's power. What do you want me to do? No, I ain't doing that. That's power. Not claiming to be a victim. Oh, look, I'm a victim. No, hold on. I'm not doing it. I was talking to a lady this week. Funnily enough, this is the thing. This is the thing with all of these things. This is tyranny, psychological fascism by the minority on the majority. Because when you see all this stuff in the papers, oh, there was a Twitter storm, there was outrage, there was a backlash. When you talk to the general population, as I had at every opportunity in the last week about this, they're going, it's crazy. What are they talking about? What's wrong with it? But these people don't reflect the majority. They reflect their own prejudices, their own discrimination, ironically, their own racism and sexism. So the inevitable has happened, says this last one. Formula One grid girls have been banned. Ridiculous that women who say they are fighting for women's rights, they're not. They're fighting for their own agenda, their own prejudice, their own insanity. Are saying what others should and shouldn't do. That's the whole idea. It's a tyranny. Stopping us from doing a job we love and are proud to do. PC gone mad. Now, here's the thing. PC is mad. It's another form of madness because it has no balance. And, you know, we've had this week in Britain government ministers refusing to be interviewed on a BBC radio programme by a guy called John Humphreys, a veteran presenter, because of some private remark caught on a live mic, making a joke about gender equality pay at the BBC. It was a joke. But no, government ministers, virtue signal, because this is what happens. Once the tyranny gets a grip, as it has, everyone becomes terrified of the tyranny. They become terrified of becoming called racist or sexist or discrimination or anti-transgender, genderphobic and all this stuff. And therefore, they serve the master who hands out the decree of who is racist and who is sexist and who is transphobic. And that's how the tyranny works. And ironically, the tyranny promotes itself as being anti-racist, anti-sexist, anti-discriminatory. And what I see are anti-hate people and groups screaming with hate on their face. I see inclusion groups excluding anyone who doesn't agree with them. I see anti-discrimination groups discriminating willy-nilly all over the place. And this is the crazy, mad, inverted world that we live in. And if we don't, like I say, grow a pair and a bit of backbone and say, up yours, darling, or up yours, mate, or whatever phrase we use. We're not being intimidated by you, whether we're a man, a woman, whatever, doesn't matter. All different areas of society are being discriminated against by these groups and being imposed upon by these groups. And we need to come together. Men, women, whatever, however people see themselves, and say, we're not having our discourse and our opinions dictated by the mob. Another story this week. Gasp for breath again. It involved an organisation I've come across called Kick It Out, which is an organisation started to address racism in football. Fine, good. There shouldn't be any racism in football. But then it expanded its brief and became something campaigning against any kind of discrimination in football. So they got more power, more influence. And I came across it because there was a anti-Zionist or anti-Zionist, ultra-Zionist, very pro-Zionist hate group, in fact, two of them, who were trying to get Manchester United Football Club to ban a book launch event late last year, my new book. And they weren't getting anywhere, really. And then up pops this Manchester MP called Kate Green, and she contacts Manchester United, and this Kick It Out got involved. And Manchester United, on the very day of the event, just pulled it, causing massive disruption to the audience who were coming, many from long distances, and many who were supporters of Manchester United. And Kick It Out went on social media after they denied my freedom of speech at Manchester United. What a glorious victory. Saying, oh yes, we're glad Manchester United has made this decision, we're concerned. They're always concerned, Kick It Out. They wake up in the morning going, I'm concerned. What am I concerned about? I must find something to be concerned about. And they were concerned that the booking for me had been taken in the first place. What did they know about what I am saying and what I'm writing? Nothing. What did Kate Green know? Nothing. So how did they know what was claimed about me was true? The ultra-Zionist hate groups told them. And this Kick It Out was in the news again this week when they were targeting a man called Philip Neville, a Manchester United footballer, formerly, funny enough. And he was appointed to be manager of the England women's team. The outrage began because someone actually then trawls through Twitter to see what he's been saying. And in 2012, he is claimed to have made sexist remarks against women. And therefore, Kick It Out was concerned, always concerned, that he was being appointed to manage the England women's football team. He made some jokes about women not watching the cricket because they were too busy doing the washing up or something. It was a joke. Because one of the things you note about the PC mob has no sense of humour. None. And the most balanced thing anyone can do is laugh at themselves. They can't. Impossible. But the main focus of this outrage was that he said in a tweet, I've just battered the wife. I feel better now, or words to that effect. No context. Oh, he's supporting battered wives. He was talking about a table tennis match where he'd just beaten his wife at table tennis. And the word battered is a word often used in football parlance to describe a situation where one player or one team heavily defeats another. We battered them. But no, the context is irrelevant. He's used a word that is also used for domestic violence, and thus, which I'm sure, of course, he never had in his mind in any way whatsoever when he made the tweet, just as a laugh. But no, he now has to be attacked and Twitter stormed and said to be unfit by Kick It Out of being manager of the England women's football team. Now here's a question. Well, here's two questions. First of all, if a woman had been appointed manager of the England women's football team and had a tweet in 2012 saying, I've just battered the husband, referring to a game of table tennis, would there be a problem? No, because this is not about equality. Equality is, I fundamentally support equality, but true equality where everyone's treated the same, not where some are treated differently to others. That's just reverse discrimination, which is what's going on now. And the other question, did Kick It Out, in their concern, ask any of the England women football players what they thought about the appointment of Philip Neville before going public and asking the football governing body, the Football Association, to take action against Neville. Did they go to those England players? Of course they didn't. Same with the grid girls here. People don't ask them. They're irrelevant. They're just there to be exploited so that people can be concerned. This is not about even the people now directly affected. It's about people being offended on their behalf, no matter if they themselves are not offended. Kick It Out and these other organisations have become sanctimonious tyrannies where their views and their concerns are more important than the people they're supposed to be representing and the discrimination, the genuine discrimination, they're supposed to be addressing. And I tell you, football, other sports, and indeed society in general, you ain't seen nothing yet. Because this is about grasping more and more power to dictate events. And once you have a situation where people are terrified of being called racist or sexist or whatever, then that, like I said earlier, the organizations and the people that have the power to decide and label who is what, then become the center of power. Because football clubs and others, they run around, oh no, kick it out, it's concerned. Oh, what do you want us to do? At the risk of repeating myself, and I don't really care, we need to grow a pair and get some backbone and stop this tyranny becoming all-encompassing and all-powerful, because it's well on the way to it. And you know what happens? Genuine discrimination, genuine sexism, genuine racism, they get lost in all this by people seeing those things everywhere where they're not. And in that way, the PC mob is not fighting, to use that word. It's not representing those who are discriminated against genuinely, and there are lots. They are exploiting those people to advance their own agenda. You look at the way those who were genuinely abused, often horrifically abused by Harvey Weinstein, how they have been lost in the deluge of A-lister self-promoters, virtue signalling, image promotion since this stories came out. Where are those people? They've been lost behind this tidal wave of A-lister virtue signalling. People like Oprah Winfrey, Meryl Streep, friends of Harvey Weinstein who did nothing year after year after year, now don their black dresses and cling to the bandwagon, promoting their Me Too self-purity. Oh, look, I've got my black dress on. You know, me too. Does my bum look big in this? Pathetic. And you see this everywhere. Those who are genuinely discriminated against, genuinely abused, are lost behind the mob of virtue signalling bollocks. Where were you, Me Too, when the stories came out one after the other of Asian trafficking gangs, raping, abusing, trafficking, mostly white girls, in Rotherham, in Rochdale, in Oxford, in Newcastle? Where were you? Oh no, we can't Can't say anything about that. It's not politically correct. Where are you with the massive paedophilia networks in Hollywood? Where are you? Silence. Go and talk to Corey Feldman and other former child actors and actresses who've gone through these paedophilia horrors. Where are you, Me Too? Oh, you're putting your black dress on and racing to a microphone. And then, something else this week. We've had this storm, this furore over an organisation called the President's Club, which is a male organisation, started 33 years ago, apparently, that's raised something like £20 million for children's charities since, and had an event recently, which it raised apparently about £2 million for children's charities. And there was a journalist who went in on an inside investigation and ran this story about women waitresses being harassed and abused by men at the event. And of course that's appalling. And well, if that's happened, then call the police. Make a fuss about it. That way, yes. But are we saying then that every man in that event was guilty of what is claimed? Of course, the overwhelming vast majority would not have been. But this is the point, they all get painted the same. Merely being there, raising money for children's charities, means you are an abuser of women. Even though you probably just sat there having your dinner. This is the rule of the mob. And it's been said that the waitresses, when they went for the job, were told that they had to wear, well, let's say next to no clothing, and other pointers that clearly revealed the kind of event it was going to be, in terms of they wanted scantily clad women walking all over the place. Well, it was a bit of a giveaway. So if you want empowerment for women, then that's the point of the empowerment. You're having a laugh, mate. I'm not doing that. End of story. And if women in general said, we're not doing that, then it wouldn't happen. Those things would stop. But some women make a choice that actually, okay, I will do that. And that's their right, funnily enough, to make that choice, and not the mob to make it for them. And virtue signalling, as a result of all this with the President's Club, and I'm sure it's an event I would like to attend, but the virtue signalling that followed has taken virtue signalling into still new depths of insanity. First of all, the President's Club has raised about £20 million for children's charities, has now disbanded as a result of the onslaught. And secondly, children's charities have sent the money back and refused the donations. Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children has apparently returned £500,000 given by that club for the treatment of children. It's given it back. Because we have now reached the point where virtue signalling is more important than what benefits children and their health. This is the scale of madness to which we have descended. And like I say, you've seen nothing yet if we let this go on. And women, including one counsellor, have been abused by the ultra-feminist mob and other virtue signalers for actually pointing out, well, hold on a minute, because one politician was calling for a ban on all male events. Imagine what would happen if you had a ban on all female events. Talking of which, these women have come out and said, well, actually, don't let's label all men the same. And by the way, if you want to see sexual harassment at an event, then go to an all-women event. Go to a hen party night. But no, that's not politically correct, because this is not about equality. This is not about treating everyone the same. It's about a hierarchy of power and driving divisions between different groups in society. And so these women who just said, hold on a minute, have you seen a hen party before you start having a go at men? Abuse. Because you're not supposed to have an opinion that the mob doesn't agree with. Now, how about we have a society which is truly equal and is truly without discrimination? How about, instead of judging everyone in groups, which is what divide and rule is all about, how about we make our judgments of individual behavior on their merits, no matter what the person's color, creed, sex, that we just make our judgments on what people do and not what they look like or where they come from. Because you see, we have anti-racist groups and anti-racist people who are obsessed with race. That's all they see. They are the racists. Because they're saying this race good, this race bad. Instead of saying, don't like that person's behavior, I like that. Because if we go on judging groups instead of individual behavior, no matter what group they come from, then a free society is finished. Because it means no matter how you behave, as long as your face is a certain colour, at the moment white, then you are judged with all the other groups, with all the others in the group. And this is a dreamland for the divide and rulers. Are we saying that there are no deeply unpleasant women, no deeply unpleasant men, no deeply unpleasant Jewish people, Muslim people, Asian people, Chinese people, while at the same time there are lovely women, lovely men, lovely Jewish people, lovely Asian, Muslim, Chinese people. And that because they have the same racial or sexual background does not mean they're all the same. It's their individual behavior we should be looking at, not the groupthink, which is what this hidden hand is exploiting through this moronic mob to transform human society and set human society against itself. People promote this political correctness as being about empowerment. It's not. It's about disempowerment. It's not about encouraging people to take their power back. It's about taking it away so they perceive themselves as victims that must be protected. I was talking to a lady this week, as I was mentioning earlier, and she said how appalled she was by this reaction against men, and the fact that she was working as a waitress in a well, it was actually a football club restaurant. She said, and this man came up where she was walking with the dinner plates, and put his hand on her leg, and she poured the gravy in his lap. I bet he never does it again. That's being in your power, not running around saying, I'm a victim, protect me, which is what this PC mob wants people to do. I know that what I've said here is pushing against the tide, but it's what I do and will go on doing. And by the way, if there's any kind of Twitter storm as a result of what I've said here, well, here we go. I'll get my response in early. This is my Twitter storm response unit, and I do recommend it because, once again, if this world is going to be in any way free as we perceive freedom, then a lot of people have got to grow a pair and grow a backbone and say we're not having it anymore. Because if we don't,